This is In-Laws and Crime.
And if you listened to us last week, you know that we're double recording.
Yep.
So here we are again.
Same day.
Same day for us.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And we did try, quick correction file.
Oh, correct.
Well,
we
not really.
We haven't had one in a while.
Not really a correction file. We could not find where last week's episode, Jeffrey Robertson, if he is still in prison or if he got out. So there's that.
Yeah, because he would have been out this year.
You would think.
Yeah. I don't know.
So there's that. Correction file closed. And we don't.
Didn't even correct it. You're just like, still don't know.
Still don't know. So there you go. And we don't have any farm files and we do not have any crime files because it's the same day.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Ready to jump in.
So we're going to jump right in. This is going to be a short one.
Yeah, this is another shorty.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to trigger warning because I know.
I'm scared.
This has to do with children.
Yeah.
So just trigger warning about that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. It's May 2003 in Chapel Hill, Texas. Deanna Laney, who goes by Dee, lives with her husband Keith and 3 sons, Joshua, who's 8, Luke, who's 6, and Aaron, who's just 14 months.
Oh, wow.
And she is quite the busy stay-at-home mom, to say the least.
Okay.
And in order to protect her children, Dee had been homeschooling Josh and Luke, a decision that her and Keith made when they started having children.
Okay.
So Dee was also heavily involved in her church, which was the First Assembly of God. It was pastored by her brother-in-law, Gary Bell.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. When she wasn't schooling her children at church or maintaining the home, she was running her boys to all their practices and games. So she was on the go.
Mm-hmm.
So by all appearances, the Laneys were a loving, happy Christian family. Absolutely no one saw what was about to come.
Oh, boy.
So what friends and family and even Keith failed to see was that Dee was fighting an internal battle with her faith. She was struggling to find answers from God. Was she a good mom? Was she doing enough for her children? How could she grow closer to God? How could she learn more and put more into her faith and trust in God? And how could she serve him better? Like these were she was having heavy thoughts a lot. So,
and you have that. I feel like that happens a lot, like postpartum. You have a lot of those intrusive thoughts. And spiral out of control.
Yeah, there's some concern about that since she had a 14-month-old if she was still struggling. Because they said she struggled initially, and I'll touch base on that. So Dee was really questioning who she was, and not just spiritually, but as a mother and a wife. No one saw that Dee was struggling because, as we all do, she just continued to carry on like life was completely normal. Yeah. So she just internalized everything.
Yeah.
So it's May 10th, 2003. It's Mother's Day weekend.
Well, what do you know?
What a coincidence,
this
because this is also Mother's Day weekend. Not when you're getting this.
Not when you're listening to this.
But we're recording. It's Mother's Day weekend.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So all appears normal at the Laney home. It's after 10 p.m. and everyone is in bed asleep except for Dee.
Okay.
Just after midnight, a call is made to 911 dispatch. The caller is Dee Laney. Dee tells dispatch that she has just killed 2 of her children and they're laying in the front yard, and she has injured her 3rd child.
Oh my gosh.
I know, we jumped right in it.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
The 911 operator is clearly in shock, but knowing she has a job to do, she pushes Dee for more information. She collected the information on Dee's location so she could get, could alert officers to head that way. And she kept Dee on the phone until Deputy Finch was en route and eventually would arrive at the property. Mm-hmm. Dispatch asked, "Are you okay?" "Yes, I'm fine." "Is your husband there with you?" "He's home, but he's asleep."
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
"Where are your 2 children?" And she says they're in the front yard and one is still in its crib. She's like, "Where are you right now?" And Dee says, "I'm behind the house on the back side of our pond." So finally now, Deputy Finch arrives, and it's just after 1 a.m. He starts looking around. No lights are on. Everything is still and quiet. Oh my God. The front door is unlocked. He pushes his way through, shouting "Sheriff's Department," to which he receives no reply.
Oh my gosh.
He continues to make his way into the home, still shouting that the Sheriff's Department is present. He reaches what he didn't know at the time, but he reaches Aaron's room, where he sees blood on the floor and Aaron in the crib with a pillow over his face.
Oh my
Still
shit.
laying in a pool of blood in his crib.
Oh my God.
He checks the baby's vitals, and thankfully, he's still alive.
Oh,
At this point, Keith emerges from the bedroom,
not the bathroom.
clearly startled by the presence of the sheriff's deputy in his
Yeah.
home. And Keith is standing there, like literally in his underwear. He was
Yeah.
sleeping. And it's very clear to Finch that Keith was fast asleep and he most likely had nothing to do with what went on this night.
Yeah.
So Finch tells Keith to get dressed quickly, that he needs his help. Keith throws on some clothes, and Finch tells Keith that he needs him to stay with the baby to make sure he continues breathing while Finch searches the rest of the home.
I can't freaking imagine.
So in the meantime, Finch calls in for EMS and backup. Finch further tells Keith that if something changes with Aaron, to call out to him immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, can you imagine?
No, like he's just waking up.
Yeah.
And he's cop
like, my
there.
Baby is in a pool of blood. What happened?
Saying, stay with your baby who's in a pool of blood. Make sure it stays breathing. I can't even imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
He probably thought he was dreaming.
Right.
God.
Right. So as Keith remains with Aaron, Finch continues to clear the home. He walks across the hall to the other boys' rooms and finds blood on the floor and blood splatter all over the room.
Oh my
but
God.
No sign of the boys. Finch then radios to dispatch asking where is the mother and where are the other children. Dispatch responds that they are still on the phone with Dee and that she's at the back of the property on the backside of the pond. Finch goes out to find Dee but is unable to locate her initially.
Oh.
As he's searching, Deputy Rathbun and Sergeant Johnson also arrive on scene. Finch asks Keith if he knew where the boys might be, and Keith says the boys love to play in the barn on the property and points Finch in the direction of where the barn is located.
Oh my gosh.
So at this point, Finch asks Rathbun to stay with Keith as he searches the barn, and unfortunately, Finch finds nothing.
Golly.
At this point, EMS is arriving to take over Aaron, and Finch and Rathbun team up to locate the boys and Dee, while Johnson started to secure the scene. So after all this, Finch believes that the boys are probably with Dee. And so he's hoping that they're safe, even though he's found blood everywhere.
Yeah.
So dispatch reiterates that Dee is at the back of the residence on the far side of the small pond on the property. So Finch and Rathbun head to the back of the home, and as they do, Dee tells dispatch that she can see the flashlights of the officers. And they tell her, hang on and don't get off the phone with me until they make contact with you.
Yeah.
So the two deputies find Dee standing 30 to 40 yards into the woods. So they live on about 4.5 acres.
Okay.
So it was a good piece of property.
Okay.
And when she emerges, she is wearing a matching pajama set that is clearly covered in blood splatter.
Ew, oh my gosh. What a freaking vision.
Scene to stumble onto.
Ugh.
It's also immediately visible to officers that Dee has blood on her hands, legs, arms, and feet.
What the hell?
But Deputy Finch notices something else. The blood on Dee in some places is dry and beginning to dry in other places.
Oh, no.
So he quickly asks, when did this happen? To which Dee responded, around 11. So it was after 1 when he showed up.
Oh.
I know.
My God.
Mm-hmm. So Finch immediately cuffs Dee and asks her where her children are. She said, I'll tell you, but I won't show you. She said the other 2 boys can be found in the front yard, one in the rock garden and the other behind the swing.
What the hell?
The 2 deputies escort Dee to a patrol car, and as they're doing so, she tells them, I had to do it.
What?
She had to. As they're getting ready to place Dee in the patrol car, she stops and points to a dark, shady part of the yard. It was at this point that Finch is finally able to make out 2 bodies of the boys he had overlooked initially.
Oh my God.
And how eerie is that? Because he walked
right
past these
him.
boys' bodies as he was going into the home.
And they're how old again?
They were 8 and 6.
God bless it.
So I just can't even imagine how
terrible.
Those
poor officers. Oh my God.
What they go through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So after they place her in the patrol car, they get to work. When they walk up on the scene, they find the bodies of Josh and Luke. The deputies check for vital signs, but there are none.
Mm.
So as all this is happening, naturally, Keith is completely beside himself.
I can't even imagine.
And the scene is now escalating more as help is arriving, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a madhouse of deputies, investigators, and yellow crime scene tape. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
And naturally, deputies and investigators would not allow Keith to see the two boys.
Yeah.
And Aaron had been loaded up and rushed to the ER so doctors could try to save his life.
Mm.
At this point, Keith is completely inconsolable.
Yeah.
He has no idea what the hell's going on, and he's just frantic, panicked, sad, all of the emotions.
Yeah.
He finally asks if he can call his family, that he just needs somebody to be by his side.
Bless his heart. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I just lost my place.
Mm.
Wow, I really lost it.
That tricky iPad.
So, okay. So remember.
And we're back.
I found it. So remember Finch and Rathbun put Dee in the back of the patrol car.
Yes.
Okay? So all of this is going on. So it's cars, it's people, it's flashing lights. And like, guess what Dee is doing?
Oh no, I don't know.
She has laid down in the backseat of the patrol car and gone to sleep.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And I'm sorry, deputies do allow him to call his family. They're like, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So he calls his dad and his sister, and they arrive quickly on scene.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So another investigator eventually goes to the patrol car to take pictures of Dee. And when she gets there, she's like, Dee is like extremely compliant. She was very soft-spoken and completely unemotional.
What in the world?
Mm-hmm. So after they photograph her, they're taking her to jail to be booked until investigators can interview her. And at the scene, investigators approach Keith with a search warrant to be signed on site that will allow them to search the home immediately. Now, the investigator recognizes this emotional stress that Keith is under.
Mm-hmm.
So he's very upfront and honest. He says, if you sign this, we can search the home right now for any evidence to help us figure out what happened here tonight. Or if you'd rather we go through the channel of requesting the search warrant and come back once it's approved, we can do that too.
Okay.
He said, either way, I can't let you back in the home tonight. Keith acknowledged that the investigator, what the investigator was saying, and said that they could search the home immediately. At this point, Keith's parents and now his sister were on site.
Good.
And investigators carefully read the search form aloud to Keith and then explained it in layman's terms along the way exactly what the form said. Because Can you imagine trying to interpret anything?
Yeah, his brain is probably just absolute chaos.
Yeah. So Keith objects to nothing and signs the form for investigators to begin their search of the home and turn anything upside down as necessary.
Yeah.
So Keith's father gathers the family and says, let's go to my house. So Keith follows his dad, and Keith's sister leaves her address and her father's address and contact information with the police if the Laney family leaves the scene.
Okay.
So while Keith and his family are leaving, Dee is arriving at the station to be processed and placed in a holding cell. So when she arrives, her clothes were collected and a forensic expert came in to take blood samples of Dee's body. They swipe 12 different Q-tips from her neck down to her feet, and they take her clothes, like I said, into evidence. She is questioned by a deputy who has a series of suicidal questions to ask her. And one of the questions was, do you hear noises or voices that no one around you can hear? And Dee nodded her head and verbally said yes.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. The officer pressed on, what do the voices or noises say to you? And she replied, I don't think I should answer that without my lawyer.
Oh, well, your voices are smart then, I guess.
Yeah. At this point, Dee is placed in a holding cell and on suicide watch by officers. So back at the crime scene, investigators are taking pictures and making notes of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And now that they have permission to investigate the home, they're collecting evidence as needed, and they're doing their best to get to the bottom of what happened. So this is repeated by every deputy and investigator that went into the home that night. They said that the home was immaculate. They said it was so clean. It was so tidy. Everything had a place, and it was like picture perfect. The only chaos in the home was literally the blood splatters.
Golly.
That was it.
That's even more eerie to me.
Isn't it? Yeah.
That everything is so clean and then there's blood everywhere.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yes. And investigators were on the lookout for anything that might help them figure out what happened that night. They notated a bunch of Bibles and several devotional type books that were Dee's. And the biggest piece of evidence was a journal that she kept for about 13 months. And the journal entries would be the most telling about her mental state leading up to the events. Meanwhile, investigators are at the point of interviewing friends, family, and acquaintances. They all said the same thing. Dee was lovely. She was so sweet. She was loving. There was no problem between her and Keith. It was like a broken record. Everybody repeated the same thing.
Wow.
So the only people that noticed a shift in Dee was her sister and her mother. The two both said that Dee had been suffering from stomach issues that the doctor could not diagnose and that she was having trouble sleeping. Both her sister and her mom noted that Dee looked so tired and drained and that she was clearly losing weight. So they saw that she was struggling with some things, but chopped it up to stomach issues, right?
Stomach, yeah.
So let me note that Dee was a petite girl and she did not need to lose a pound.
Yeah.
So, but that's anything anybody noticed at all about her. So her best friend was interviewed and she said there was a time or two when she saw Dee crying at church to another church member. Like recently. And the only other thing that she mentioned was Aaron, the 14-month-old baby, wasn't planned. And while Dee wasn't overly excited about the baby coming, she wasn't unhappy either. And then she did battle a bout of postpartum depression, but it seemed that she had recovered and moved on.
Okay.
Other than that, she didn't notice anything outside of her losing weight. So investigators were at an impasse, like what happened? She's seemingly the perfect wife and the perfect mother. Like, what on earth happened? So, yeah. But they're about to find a little bit more information. So, remember I mentioned earlier that Dee was struggling with her relationship and devotion to God. And she also struggled about being a good mother to her children. So, she had started to write a little in her journal that she had kept for over a year. She also had several devotional workbooks and countless Bibles in the house. So one of the investigators found this dated March 8th of 2003, so just a month prior to the attack on the children. And it's titled Reflection. And this is verbatim of what it said. I was cooking supper one night. I decided to make potato casserole. I felt the Lord was telling me to put leftover meatloaf in the casserole plus a pint of chicken broth. I felt so unsure, though. Was this really God speaking to me about how to cook? And the tone in his voice, it sounded like he was laughing and nonchalant. It was so weird. I just stopped cooking and I sat down and asked, Lord, is that really you or is this my imagination?
Oh, God.
And the Lord replied, yeah, sure, it's me. What's wrong? Don't you know my voice? Dee said, yes, I thought I did, but now I'm confused. And she underlined confused like 3 times.
Oh, my gosh.
She said, I know you are the same. Why are you talking to me like this? Dee further replies, let me know this is the same confusion. Oh, let me know this. Is this the same confusion I bring to my boys when I'm not consistent with their discipline? And then there was a complete shift and change in her handwriting in the journal.
Oh my.
Yeah. Because, and this is significant because she's documenting in a direct conversation that she had with God and he's like answering her like you and I are having a conversation right now.
What in the world?
Yeah. So investigators eventually get Dee into an interrogation room for questioning.
For the record, that didn't sound like the Lord to me.
I mean, yeah,
that's scary.
She's struggling.
Yeah.
She immediately tells them that she had to do what she had to do what she did and refused to answer any further questions without her church appointed attorney present. So this was some of the most damning information though that the police would find other than her outright confession right on the 911 call. They found more journal entries like this where she questioned the kind of mother she was and how to bring herself closer to God. All the things she had questioned about herself previously were backed by numerous Bibles they found with scripture that had been highlighted and notes in the margins. Like she was just out there.
Man.
They also found several devotional books that were never finished working through. So, but yet they had gone through and she had highlighted and triple underlined words and things and phrases. And anyway, so while all this is coming together, that Dee Laney may not be of sound mind, the investigators were hard at work at the crime scene. As they were making their notes and analyzing the blood splatter, in Aaron's room, they found about an 8-inch rock lying at the foot of the bed. The rock had blood on it and was assumed to be the weapon of choice for her baby Aaron.
What in the freak?
Mm-hmm. It appeared to investigators based on the rock, the injuries to Aaron's head, and the blood splatter that Dee took Aaron out of the crib, laid him on the floor, and then began to hit him in the head with the rock.
Oh my God.
For some reason, she stopped, didn't finish the job, put Aaron back in his crib, and then placed the pillow over his head and went to Josh and Luke's room across the hall.
Oh.
So what investigators could gather was that she then hit the middle child, Luke, over the head with a rock until he was unconscious, then moved to Josh to do the same thing.
What the hell?
So the boys are in their bunk beds. So they share a room. So they're in bunk beds. So they think about like how fast she had to have done this to them to not wake or startle the other one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She then takes Luke, who's the middle child, remember, the 6-year-old. She then takes Luke out of bed, drags him, or possibly carries him through the house. It's not really known. Takes him outside to the rock garden, places his head on a large rock, and continues to stone him until he is dead.
What the freak?
She then drags Luke across the rock garden and behind a swing in front of the yard so she had room to bring Josh out to the same rock garden.
Oh,
and we know
my
she
God.
dragged Luke because he was just in his underwear and a t-shirt, and his shirt had been bunched up over his neck and shoulders from where he had been dragged across the yard.
Oh my God.
And then the blood pattern that also followed where she had dragged him across the yard.
Poor.
Over to the swing.
Oh my gosh, those poor babies.
Mm-hmm. So once he's out of I'm sorry, I keep hitting my mic. If you're watching, I keep hitting my mic. So once he's out of the rock garden, she hits him one last time with a final blow and then leaves the rock sitting on his neck and chest.
My God.
Yeah. Next was Josh. So he's the oldest at 8. So she would do the same thing to Josh. She brought him outside, laid his head on the same large rock in the rock garden, and then just continued to stone him. And when they found him, he had one large rock on his chest also, and then one that had pinned his arm down on the ground.
What the hell?
And then she left him there. So here's what we know. Here's what we have. We have 2 deceased boys, one in critical condition, a father that's totally beside himself about how all this happened.
Yeah, no
and
crap.
every interviewer saying they had no idea anything was going on with Dee.
Yeah.
Like, this is just insane. So what really happened? What really made her snap? Dee, for what she told police and dispatch that night, was that she was the murderer. God had told her to do it.
Mm-mm.
It was an absolute must to save her children from what they would eventually become. And her husband, she did say, was innocent and had nothing to do with the crimes. And again, by all accounts from Keith, family, and friends, Dee was perfectly fine. No one suspected this would ever happen. And she was even capable of such a violent crime.
What the hell?
But yeah, God told her. So, and if you followed a few years ago, the Andrea Yates case out of Houston, she was the one that God told her to kill her 5 children. So to keep them from whatever they were becoming.
That's not God. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go
Yeah. So this act of violence came as a shock to not only those that knew her, but to the entire community.
Yeah.
This perfect mom, wife, friend, sister, daughter was just like suspected that no one ever suspected that she would have put her children in danger in a million years. So there's a point that Dee does tell investigators that she had made a mistake with Aaron. She thinks she was only supposed to kill Josh and Luke, and Aaron was to be left alone. So that's why she didn't finish the job with Aaron.
What in the world?
So this is what stopped her from killing him. And that's why she put him back in the crib.
Do we know how Aaron is?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
The other 2 boys, however, she was to kill and keep them from what they might become or the world that they may have to live in. And if she didn't protect them by giving them back to, or she had to protect them by giving them back to God.
Oh my gosh.
So this is just bizarre.
Yeah.
Just absolutely bizarre. So, I keep shrinking the page. I'm so sorry. You guys keep hearing me like squeal on here.
It's because it does it so suddenly. Like if the words get big or small, it throws you off.
It does. So once the case was ready to go to trial, Dee was said to be unfit for trial due to her mental state. And she was essentially found not guilty by reason of insanity and sent to the mental health institution.
Ugh.
While it was obvious to Keith, close friends, and family that Dee had clearly had a mental break of some kind, unfit or completely crazy was not at the top of anyone's mind.
Yeah.
So, in the days leading up to and the day of the attack, nothing worth noting gave any indication that the killing of the Laney's children was on Dee's mind.
Man,
I mean, it was Mother's Day.
That's
It
insane.
was Mother's Day.
Ugh.
So, either way, Dee was deemed unfit to stand trial. She was ordered to stay in an institution, and she was to be monitored at all times. She could have supervised visits, and she was not able to have any contact with any children. And because she was so sweet and so kind, though, the doctors at the facility eventually started letting Dee go out on her own. So they just started letting her go outside of the institution unsupervised. And then eventually she was allowed to leave the premises. Unsupervised. So when the judge found out about this, they put an immediate stop to it. They're like, yeah, absolutely
they
not.
were doing that without
no permission. Oh, yeah. They were just letting her, yeah. And they were just turning their heads and letting her go.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Dee remained in the institution until 2012, where she was allowed to leave and carry on as she saw fit. She was evaluated by 4 psychologists before the decision was made that she wasn't a threat to society.
What the hell?
So upon her release, she was told she had to obey the following rules. She may not be in contact with any minors unsupervised. Healthcare workers were able to come and evaluate her at any point in time.
Mm-hmm.
She had to remain on all medications. She had to provide periodic blood tests to prove that she was still on said medications.
Okay.
And she could not move without talking to the courts first. When Keith was told that she was to be released, he was furious, to say the least. During all the investigations and all the time spent at the Kerrville Mental Hospital, do you know how many tears were shed for the children or their husband?
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
She didn't cry one time about killing her children and what she did to Aaron or her husband. And now she's back out in society to do as she pleases. She was unfit to stand trial for her actions, but is deemed fit to be back amongst the general public.
Really? What sense does that make?
What is happening here? So, and Keith has every right to be upset.
Mm-hmm.
Dee took everything from him while he was asleep, thinking everything in his world was perfectly fine. There were talks among close friends and family that baby Aaron was unplanned, the age gap, because of the age gap, and that Dee wasn't thrilled to be starting over. And she was happy that a third baby was on the way.
Mm-hmm.
She never talked negatively about him other than he was just unplanned. So there is talk about the postpartum depression, like I said,
mm-hmm.
and all that she was going through. But by all evidence, her killing her children was brought on by what God had instructed her to do.
Mm-mm.
And back to Keith and Aaron. Aaron did survive the attack.
Wow.
But he is paralyzed, lives in a wheelchair, and his father, Keith, has to do everything for him. Changes his clothes, his diapers, feeds him by hand. He can't do anything anymore. His entire life is dedicated to his son that Dee attempted to kill, but instead left him almost in a vegetable state.
Oh, that is so sad.
Yeah. So she took everything away from her son.
Yeah.
And then she took Keith's life away too.
Yeah.
So he was just, who would have thought?
No.
Yeah. So she killed Josh and Luke and then robbed Aaron and Keith of everything. Keith says that he forgives Dee at this point in his life, but that he hopes to never, ever come across her again.
Yeah, really.
Because his son and him being the caretaker is a constant reminder of her cruelty.
Yeah.
So, and that is the tragic story of the Laney
My
boys.
gosh, that is insane.
Not horrible.
We've had a few requests to do that one too.
Yeah.
And I was like, I will not.
Oh, I'm sorry. And my references were I got my reports from Smith County Sheriff's Office and then a little on KLTV about how Aaron and Keith were doing.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
wow.
but you can tell Keith carries a lot of resentment. He
bet.
said he's forgiven her, but can you imagine?
I can't imagine living with that.
Yeah.
I just can't. And then having to take care of,
son.
and have to take care of him every day.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that she was released. That's surprising to me.
And that was such a good point. You deemed her unfit to stand trial, but now you've deemed her fit to be out in society.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
If it really was postpartum depression, but
she
was having direct conversations with the Lord.
Yeah.
He was answering her.
That wasn't the Lord.
Me and you.
No, that wasn't him.
How was your day, Megan? And then you answer me.
No. That one. Everybody hears the Lord differently. But when she said like putting the meatloaf in the what and then laughing,
Right. Yeah.
I
like,
just got that. You know how you get that like feeling like, oh, yeah.
yeah. That why? Yeah. I was like, God was instructing her to cook. Like put the meatloaf in the potatoes and then add a little chicken stock. Add a little chicken
I feel
stock.
like I'm going to go take a break
He's like,
from this conversation, Lord.
Trust me.
Yeah.
On the meatloaf, potatoes, and chicken stock. Okay. It's going to be a hit.
It's going to be a hit. Wow. That's insane.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ashley, for that freaking depressing ass
I know.
episode.
I'm really sorry. I trigger warned you.
You did. Thank you for the trigger warning.
You're welcome.
I didn't get to utilize a trigger warning because I have to sit here and listen to you. So, okay, guys. Well, like, subscribe, and share.
Mm-hmm. Rate.
Oh, I
review.
flipped it on you, didn't
That's okay. I was trying to think. Rate and review. What is it?
Yep. Rate and review.
Okay.
Please, please, please.
Yeah.
If you have a tale or a recommendation, email us at inlawsandcrime@gmail.com. And keep your roots deep.
Yeah.
Bye.